The following podcast contains opinion and commentary protected by the First Amendment and fair use. It may also contain adult themes, adult concepts, and adult language not suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
David Gingras, lawyer with flair, took on a case, thought he'd get somewhere. Laura Owens spun a tale so wild, claimed Clayton's twin said she bore his child. In the courtroom swing, they danced their plea, but the judge saw through that false decree. Paternity suit, it fell apart fast. Gingras' bold moves, they just couldn't last. 3 strikes, you're out. Gingras, hear the call. Your case struck out, watch it crumble and fall. Laura's lies, they swung and missed by a mile. 7 felonies down, no chance to restyle. Jazz it up, now the gavel's gonna slam. Gingras and Owens caught in their own jam. To the Arizona court he appealed with might, tried to turn the tide in the legal fight, but the Supreme Court said no, not today. Your claims don't hold, they're slipping away. Judge Mata's ruling, sharp like a knife, called out the fraud that cut through their stripe. No proof of twins, no truth in the claim. Gingras and Owens, they're losing the game. 3 strikes, you're out. Gingras, hear the call. Your case struck out, watch it crumble and fall. Laura's lies, they swung and missed by a mile. 7 felonies down, no chance to restyle. Jazz it up, now the gavel's gonna slam. Gingras and Owens caught in their own jam. Then the law came knocking with a heavy hand. 7 felony counts across the desert land. Fraud and perjury, tampering too, Laura's web of lies the jury saw through. Forged a sonogram, spun tales under oath. Her stories collapse, no room for their growth. Maricopa's justice, it don't play no games. Now Laura's indicted, carrying all the blame. Oh, the saxophone wails, for the truth been told. Gingras' swagger's faded, his case growing cold. Laura's dreams of victory, they're sinking in the sand. The law's got her number with the prosecuting hand. From the courtroom drama to the felony sting, this jazzy tale's got that bittersweet zing. 3 strikes, you're out. Gingras, hear the call. Your case struck out, watch it crumble and fall. Laura's lies, they swung and missed by a mile. 7 felonies down, no chance to restyle. Jazz it up, now the gavel's gonna slam. Gingras and Owens caught in their own jam. So let the trumpets cry, let the drums roll on. The tale of their downfall, forever it's sung. In the desert's heat, where the truth stands tall, Gingras and Owens, they took the big fall. Jazz it up now, let the story unfold. A courtroom caper in the key of bold.
Welcome everyone back to your favorite cubbyhole on the internet. We have news today. We have news. This is breaking news. That's correct. We do have breaking news on this hump day evening. It's very good breaking news. It's not unexpected breaking news. Of course. How could we expect anything but unexpected breaking news? Oh, what do you do? But guess what, folks? I think it's a day. Is it really a day for celebration? We knew this was going to happen. I've been saying it, and I've played the song yet again. 3 strikes, you're out, Gingras, hear the call. You're not listening because you're a dumbass and you're probably still intoxicated. No, he's not supposed to be intoxicated or he's going to be in trouble again. We're just making a little fun. It's okay. It's all right. He's done it to himself just as Laura has done it to herself. They are responsible for the actions, ladies and gentlemen. It is not our fault what they get themselves into. They do it to themselves. But the news is this, everybody, in case you haven't already heard. The Supreme Court of Arizona has denied the petition for review. So Dingus's third attempt, if you want to call it a third attempt, or how many attempts have we had? I've lost count. We had the initial trial. We had all that nonsense before the trial. We had the appeal. We had this. So it's at least 3. It's a nice symmetrical uneven number, as odd numbers tend to be. But it's ordered that the request for attorney's fees for Laura Owens has been denied. And additionally, the request for attorney's fees to respond to this bullshit for Clayton Echard has been granted. So yet again, Laura Owens has lost for the third and final time. Now, some have threatened that they're going to take this all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. It would be as stupid as it is laughable, because they're not going to get a writ to enter this bullshit into the Supreme Court of the United States. Although it would be really funny to watch it happen, and it would only make things more expensive for Laura, who's now in the hole in excess of $200,000 on this case alone. Don't tell me that GoFundMe is going to Ron Owens' medical expenses when we know otherwise. And while they admit, Clayton's side said, we know we're not going to get a dime out of these people. They already knew that the Owens family was apparently on the verge of indigency, if not bankruptcy. Well, we know it's bankruptcy in this case. Allegedly, they still make $21,000 a month, but somehow they can't seem to pay their bills on time. So now they're in trouble. And as others have pointed out in conversations lately, they haven't properly claimed the GoFundMe, what it's for, where it's going, where it sits in their financial schemes. Their financial schemes and artifices, perhaps, maybe even their financial fraud. We're just speculating on that point. But if it walks like a duck, and it talks like a duck, and it eats like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, it's probably not a gerbil. But I don't have the drums. Oh, well, you're just going to have to imagine my humor with proper drums and rim shots accordingly. That's not a joke either, although it could be a double entendre. All right, so there you go. Laura has lost. Laura has lost again, and Owens v. Echard has come to its rightful conclusion. And Clayton and poor Woodnick will never see a dime from this bankrupt family, in which Laura Owens' personal finances are most certainly, in my opinion, entangled, because she's still allegedly being claimed as a dependent. Go figure. Her problems are their problems, and their problems are her problems. They are so codependent and commingled. It's not funny. It's a mess. The Owens family is a mess. Can we just admit to that fact? I think we can, can't we? And you know what? Because otherwise this would be a super short one. And I don't want to bore you to tears with just short little details. We're going to bring up some other good stuff. So if you would just hold, please. All right, now for our next item up for bid, our next subject matter in the case of Owens family nuttiness. This is very interesting. A kind viewer and subscriber. Can you call them? Yes. Members are people who pay. Subscribers are just people who click the buttons. That's a reminder, folks. Have you clicked that like button yet? Have you clicked the I don't like button yet? They all work equally for us, so click something and hit that subscribe button. And if you wish to be notified, and I highly suggest you do, because otherwise you may never know what happens here until you just happen to remember that you're subscribed to this channel, hit that notification bell. It's all for the good of the cause. I like positive reinforcement because, well, growing things and talking about all these great things are great reinforcement for me, as it is therapy. This is what we call talk therapy. All right, so now on to our next subject today. And again, this is brought to us by a lovely subscriber to this channel who brought it to my attention and sent me some stuff in the Cubbyhole email. This comes from the Cubbyhole mailbag. I need some mailbag music. Oh, golly, see, more to do. More to do. Channel growth is unending. I'm just going to Cubbyhole mail music. Yes, we need more songs. You can never have too many songs, don't you think? We've got more on Elizabeth Ann Naylor, a.k.a. Jan Black. That is Mother Owens to those of us around here, as I indiscriminately call her from time to time. There's more to be said about her, and her origin story is shrouded in even more questions. For those of you who've followed this case for a little while, you know a little bit about Jan Black, and she says she's had this auspicious young beginning. We covered that in some of her interviews on The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. Mother Owens talks about her origin a little bit because Jordan Belfort asks her a little bit. But some of the stuff she says isn't quite what has been reported in the news of days gone by. That's right, folks. We've got another Wayback Machine episode here for you. Many of you may be aware of this particular article. This comes from the San Francisco Examiner, and it's from September 30th, 1996, and it talks a little bit about her history. Because at this time, this is when Jan Black, a.k.a. Elizabeth Ann Naylor, Mother Owens, decided to leave KCBS. She was rolling in Ron Owens' money so much that she decided, oh, you know what? I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom now. You know, my youngest child, Laura, is already 6 years old, but now I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. It's odd. It's odd thinking to me, in my experience, observing many people in my peer group, which are well into their mid-40s now and have many kids, many of them in college now. The second they gave birth, they wanted to be with their children. It wasn't, well, I popped them out. I'm going to work for a few more years. Well, now that, half a decade's gone by, now I want to be a stay-at-home mom. That hasn't happened with a single one. So my mind is wondering, why on earth did Jan Black decide that, okay, well, my youngest is now old enough to be in kindergarten. Now I'll be a stay-at-home mom? It's odd to me. But anyhow, this article talks about her early days. And again, this was when she was about to retire from full-time broadcasting and her leaving KCBS. And she says, we're in the second paragraph here, I've been working since I was a DJ in high school. Now, working we could use in air quotes. Yes, she was someone who was on the air in high school, but she was not by any means a star. She was nobody special. She was actually part of a program in which a number of students were enrolled. But that's only the beginning of this little tirade that I'm on tonight. She goes on to explain in this article that she thought this was the right time to be around her two daughters and leave being a full-time broadcasting because, well, motherhood is important, and she wants A's in everything, including motherhood and broadcasting. This is at the bottom of the second paragraph. And I quote, but I realized I couldn't do that, and parenting is my first priority. Well, she didn't do a very good job, in my opinion. But let's skip ahead to the important part. She talks about missing the pay, and she talks about Ron's paycheck being enough to allow her to do this. But at the bottom of this article, she explains her name, Jan Black. And this story is not corroborated. Actually, it's being refuted by earlier publications, and we'll get to that in just a moment as well. This is the last paragraph at the bottom, and I quote, Black explains, by the way, why she's used Jan Black as her radio name since her high school broadcasting days. That's actually false, and we'll prove that in just a moment. My maiden name was Elizabeth Naylor. We know that, she says. And on the radio, that sounded too much like Elizabeth Taylor, because nobody cares about an actress that's many decades older. Anyhow, whatever her real name, Jan Black will sorely be missed by fellow KCBS listeners. So that's that particular article. Let's take this one step at a time. I know I want to jump to the end, but we'll get there. We'll get there, I promise. This one was interesting to me as well. This is announcing Elizabeth Ann Naylor marrying Ronald Stephen Owens on April 22nd of 1986. So we've heard a number of mixed stories about when Ron and Jan Black, aka Elizabeth, actually met and when they were smitten, but clearly they waited for quite a while to get married. Of course, she was extraordinarily young. She was barely 18 by the time she waddled her way to work in the newsroom, most likely as a paper pusher. First, because they don't want children. They don't want underage children who are inexperienced. Yes, I know, she had a modest amount of student experience on a public school station. But that's nothing compared to the big leagues where you're expected to perform for that paycheck. Anyhow, it talks about her marrying Ron Owens. We have the bride and the bridegroom and Yes, it says the bride is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Max Naylor, 707 Vassar Southeast. And if you want to take a peek, let's take a peek at her home. The childhood home of Jan Black, a.k.a. Elizabeth Naylor Owens. There it is. Look, it looks very similar to the house they live in, that very sort of southwesty adobe kind of style next to rather unassuming houses. That's her childhood home, folks. There it is. No, this is not doxing because this is public information. And look, it was all public information published in media. So no, it is not doxing. Anyone who thinks otherwise can piss off. So that was just a little peek at Jan Black, Elizabeth Naylor Owens, childhood home. Very interesting. Interesting how we've decided to return to sort of the Southwest and apparently a little bit bigger house we can't quite afford. But now let's go to a little bit more history. This lovely thing, also from the same viewer of this channel, was sent to us as well. This comes to you from the Journal for Youth. This is Monday, April 23, 1973, page B1. And in the picture, the caption for the picture as it says below, Teen Talk. Elizabeth Naylor, 16, and a junior at Highland High School, is one of 11 advanced students gaining practical experience and high school credit for radio broadcasting. Elizabeth is a daily disc jockey and news anchor for KANW-FM, Albuquerque Public Schools radio station. She is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Max C. Naylor, 707 Vassar Southeast, and holds a Federal Communications Commission third-class license. Now, as I understand it, the FCC third-class license no longer exists. It was most likely some sort of amateur license of some sort, which allows certain latitudes with supervised commercial station operation, which, it's hard to say that a public school is actually commercially operated. It was probably like the radio version of PBS. They were licensed, they had lots of supervision, but otherwise it was relatively meaningless. But she did have some, for lack of better words, entry-level experience. But as you will note, the important part here is not so much whether or not she was licensed to be on the radio or how that happened. She is not recognized in this as Jan Black. That clearly came later. At least she wasn't recognized as Jan Black publicly in this article in 1973. So the origin of the name Jan Black, her stage name or pseudonym, is obviously still in question. When did it happen? Why did it happen? Did it happen when she finally got on the air in San Francisco and perhaps she was just trying to distance herself from something in her past or for being connected to her actual name at some point in time? We don't know for sure, but it does remain a question. So, all right, I know this is a little bit of a quickie. It's all right. It's good. More will happen. Now we can devote our attention to the criminal trial and, if we so desire, Dingus's DUI charges and whatever else happens with him. So that should be enough for this hump day evening. Enjoy, peoples. If you have things you want me to see about this case and perhaps other cases, by all means, stick me an email. I am now including it in the About page of this show. In the show notes, well, not in the show notes, but, the About section where you have to be a human being and hit lots of things. Now, it will come with a warning to those who may wish to abuse that email. It's not something I check daily, so I will not accept any kind of service on that. So you may as well expect such things if you plan to be a nasty person or nefarious or engage in vexatious litigation. You better do it the smart way or my legal counsel will be all over your ass and your ass will be grass, as the kids used to say. All right. Enough threats about abusing my email because, that's why I didn't want to put out there. People tend to abuse that. Certain people's attorneys like to abuse contact information for YouTubers and other people. So I will put that warning out there. And, if they decide to be stupid, it will be publicized. There will be no illusions of confidentiality in anything I may receive. Now, for those who may be sources, they are welcome to request such. But everything will be very thoroughly vetted, shall we say. All right. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Let's send you out with yet another favored tune of mine. Till next time, peoples.
In the wings of life's grand theater, where the spotlight burns so bright, Laura Owens takes the center, weaving tales into the night. From a casida's whispered secrets to a courtroom's fevered play, her stories twist and turn, but someone's guiding her astray. Shapes the drama's destiny. With a whisper, with a nod, she's the hand behind the scheme. In the stage mom's shadow, truth gets lost in Laura's dream. Jan Black sways in silence with a smile that masks the cost, crafting emails, dodging debts in a world where truth is lost. With candy for the cops she greets, a sweet disguise for pain. Yet she fuels her daughter's spotlight in this shadow sly refrain. From a podcast glowing spotlight to a lawsuit's bitter sting, she's the echo in the background, tying knots to every string. Is she puppet or the master in this dance of veiled deceit? Her shadow falls on Laura's stage, where lies and dreams compete. In the city by the bay, a restraining order's call. Laura spun her tale of woe, while Jan stood proud and tall. Through the years the scripts keep changing, yet the shadow never fades. A mother's love or something more in this masquerade of spades. Oh, the stage mom's shadow, pulling strings we'll never see. In the haze of mystery, she shapes the drama's destiny. With a whisper, with a nod, she's the hand behind the scheme. In the stage mom's shadow, truth gets lost in Laura's dream. When the final curtain falls and the lights begin to dim, will the shadow tell her story or stay silent, cold and grim? In the theater of their making, where the lines of truth are blurred, the stage mom's shadow lingers with a secret name.